Holidaymakers are being warned to expect disruption over the next few days, I'm afraid, on the roads, rail and at airports.
And we're joined from Heathrow Airport by who else? Travel expert Simon Calder to answer your questions. Simon, first of all, what is the picture this morning at Heathrow Airport? A lot of people will be travelling in and out of that airport, one of the biggest airports, most busiest airports in the world. What's it like there at the moment?
Well, it's actually running pretty smoothly, Adil, but I can tell you exactly why that is. It's because British Airways has cancelled 68 flights. That represents about 10,000 people who are not going to be on the planes that they had booked. Now, BA says that actually most of those cancellations were made a couple of weeks ago, giving people time to make alternative arrangements. But actually, there's been some really significant flights cancelled overnight. 10 minutes ago, there was supposed to be a British Airways flight to Bucharest in Romania. That's been cancelled. Now we've got a holiday flight to Athens due out in 10 minutes or so. That's been cancelled. At the moment, that's just a dull old Airbus A320 British Airways, but at least it's taking off. We've got another cancellation tonight to Larnaca in Cyprus, again late on, so lots of people cheesed off with that. But as a result of taking 10,000 passengers out of the equation, things are working really smoothly. Security queues very short here, unlike, of course, at Manchester Airport.
Talking of queues, so Karen on Twitter, and I think there'll be a few people in this boat, due to fly from Manchester to Rome, is it best to minimise cabin baggage to move through security queues and just have sort of carry-on baggage? Is that going to make the world of difference to people, do you think?
Absolutely. Yes, it's really, really good to do everything you can to help the queues go smoothly. And of course, over the years, we've been incentivised to pack all our stuff into cabin baggage. And of course, during the pandemic, many people haven't flown for a couple of years and they've kind of forgotten the liquids rule. So let me remind you, clear plastic bag, nothing over 100 millilitres. And I used to work in security at Gatwick Airport, and I know that once you've got a hand search that's required, that really gums things up. So best thing to do, if you possibly can, is simply help yourself, help others. Remember the liquids rule, and if you can check everything in, that's all the better. And Manchester Airport this morning, the chief executive says, we're really sorry, we haven't got enough staff, we are working on it. Meanwhile, please turn up 3 hours before your flight.
Other things that catch me out at security is, I mean, this won't affect you, Simon, but is make sure you're wearing some shoes that you can take off easily or no heels, and contact lenses. I wear disposable contact lenses. I always forget them and they're in the bottom of my makeup bag, and then they stop it because it's liquid in it. And it's checking those silly little things where you can help yourself a little bit, can't that you?
Oh, certainly, yeah. And of course, there's lots and lots of great people working in the front line. They have got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. They're not having a brilliant day. And please, give them the respect they deserve. Please, no abuse to these people who are simply trying to get you and me away on holiday.
Yeah. Now, bringing you, Simon, part of the problem is that you talk about now British Airways have cancelled 60-odd flights. A lot of people will be in that position. And then when they try to call the airline, perhaps there's not enough staff, so they're not getting through. So people don't know what to do once they've got these cancelled flights. And Ian asking the question, how long do they have until the airline has to acknowledge the claim? I mean, that's the worry, isn't it? You could, well, OK, there's nobody answering the phones. How long have they got until they've got to try and deal with it?
OK, well, let's take that flight due out in 10 minutes to Athens. So people would have been waking up, I imagine, or they may have been tipped off last night that wasn't going. British Airways will probably have said something like, oh, you can fly with us tomorrow. Now, that isn't good enough. The Civil Aviation Authority makes it absolutely clear that if an airline cancels your flight, and we're seeing 68 on BA, 42 so far on EasyJet, it has to get you to your destination on the day you're supposed to go. Now, with multiple flights being cancelled, I think BA's cancelled 3 to Milan Malpensa, there's not going to be very much room on the other flights. And so therefore, if they have to buy a brand new flight on a rival airline, that's what they have to do. If they're not picking up the phone, if you've given them the chance to organise it, then you can yourself go ahead and book that flight. You're going to have a fairly robust credit card, but every indication is you should be able to get that money back. If you do accept the airline's option, then of course they have to provide meals and if necessary, accommodation until they can get you where you need to be. And on top of that, they will be paying you £220 for short flights, £350 compensation for longer flights. The Civil Aviation Authority has made it absolutely clear that they don't regard staff shortage, which is at the root of all this, as an extraordinary circumstance. So you will be getting some cash by way of consolation.
And just a quick one about the rails. Next weekend,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm travelling next weekend, actually, for work, actually, over Easter weekend, and I would normally get the train, but I can't get the train, so I'm having to sort of get a car up there. I mean, that is just ridiculous. For someone like I might be able to afford to do it, but some people just can't do it.
engineering work?
Yeah, because of the engineering works.
Yep.
What advice would you give to people, Simon? Next weekend, Easter weekend, probably the biggest weekend, first biggest weekend of the year.
People wanting to see their loved ones.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
all sorts of reasons
Well-
to travel. What advice would you give to them now? The rail network's going to be down from the south to the north.
OK. The main problems, Adol, are going to be on the West Coast main line, which is going to be closed completely from Good Friday to Easter Monday at London Euston. Also problems in the West Midlands and in North West England, southern Scotland. So, frankly, avoid the West Coast main line, see what other alternatives are available. And also, if you're heading for lovely Gatwick Airport or indeed Brighton from London Victoria, well, you won't be going there anytime over Easter because that line's closed. There's an alternative from London Bridge. And by the way, it's also closed this weekend as well. Good luck, everybody.
Gosh.
Oh, dear. Simon, look at him. He's such a pleasant face of doom, isn't he? Oh, dear. Thank you for trying to steer us through, Simon. Thank you.
I love that. Pleasant face of doom.
Well, you know what I mean? He's just so adorable.
He
And
is.
he seems to manage even bad news to sound to be lovely.